So, today through Revenue Chasers, your new platform, which is revenuechasers.com, go check it out. So good. You are providing startups and scaling organizations with tailored strategies, right?
Yes.
And tools, which is what we were just talking about, to drive business growth. What are a lot of people that listen, they might be, solopreneurs or entrepreneurs that are doing their thing. It might be on the side, but we also have some awesome B2B people that listen.
Right.
What are some of the most common problems, maybe the top two issues and friction points that you see in these organizations that you help them unlock and move things forward?
The common issues I find is either it's a lack of passion, a lack of knowledge, or a lack of resources. So oftentimes people will start a business because, hey, this should make me a lot of money. And it's just not something that moves them and drives them and keeps them invested. So if they are encumbered by having to do everything that they don't love, and maybe they've fallen out of love with the reason they went into business, I can help them make sense of all of that so they fall in love with their business again, or help them make their business into something they do love. Okay. More likely it's going to be a lack of knowledge or a lack of resources. So the resources, training, tools, coaching that I provide are based on a lot of the fundamentals, because many of my clients are solopreneurs, startups, and scale-ups. So they're right at that point where they have some barriers to growth and they want to get to that next level, whether it's from 1 million to 5 or 5 to 10 or 10 to 20, whatever that may be. Maybe they're at 50 and they want to go to 100 million.
Yeah.
But they can't get over that hump. That's where I come in.
Yeah.
And so we'll look at the fundamentals. Many of them don't know who exactly they should be selling to, how they should be selling. Maybe they have operational challenges. They may say, well, we need more sales. So we'll do a deep dive assessment. No, you don't need more sales. Your problem's over here. You're leaking all your revenue. And then the last one is lack of resources. So maybe they don't have bandwidth.
Yeah.
And I will help them find whether it's technology, human resources, human capital, sometimes they'll call it, or any type of supplemental growth opportunities that is going to help them get where they need to be.
Cool.
So if I were to do a self-assessment, right, of my business, when you say looking at the fundamentals and then, maybe spotting what is the problem, or let's say the best point of leverage, right, for me to have an initial growth, right? What would that self-assessment, how would that self-assessment look like? What would be the questions I would guide myself through to find that point of leverage that I could, take action right now?
It's interesting you ask that because right after this recording, I'm recording a module for a training session, which is strategic planning.
Ooh, look at that.
And it's all about determining what your goals are and how to reach them. Yeah. So that is the first step. You want to grow. Okay, define that. How do you want to grow? Do you want to grow revenue? Do you want to grow your product line? Do you want to grow your number of customers? Do you want to grow your number of locations?
Yeah. My brother, his height. His height.
Well, I've got some nice boots.
I decided that I want to grow my belly.
I've got some experience there.
And now.
All right. So let's go back to define the growth.
Yeah.
Right,
So
and
you
goal.
have to define specifically how do you want to grow? Why do you want to grow? What are those specific parameters? SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time bound.
Yeah.
And then you have to break it down to say, okay, well, where am I in my current state? And look at all the different areas of your business. So your financials, look at your data. Hopefully you have good data. If you don't, we need to get good data.
Yeah.
Every company has data. And if you don't have a good data plan, whether it's your CRM, whether it's your financials, whatever the case may be, that's usually the first starting point, because you can't make data-driven decisions without data.
Yeah.
You want to look at the competitive market, the industry and other competitors. You want to look at your customers' market. You want to look at the geopolitical, financial markets, all of that to say, okay, what's impacting my business today? What's going to impact it in the future? So you can't just say, I want to grow. You've got to look at, okay, where am I today? Where do I want to go? Define that and say, okay, what's my path to success? That's where I come into play.
And then also sprinkle a little bit of passion, right? Because if you're not passionate about what you're doing, all that's going to be really hard to start executing.
You're going to need to sprinkle a little bit of passion.
The whole
Well,
bucket.
dump the whole thing.
The whole bucket.